Hey guys, I think it's time to give ordinary people a tax break.
Why don't I? It's called a tax break. Joe Biden doesn't just have a senior moment or two. It's like every time he talks, and it seems to be getting worse. Joe Biden was addressing reporters the other day. It's a rare occurrence when Biden addresses reporters, and he forgot to address this issue of the building collapse. He just seemed to forget what had happened. And this was a really bad thing. I haven't covered it too much on the show because it's just sad. I don't think there's too much of a political angle here. It's just like a really, really sad thing. And so Joe Biden was supposed to talk about this. He forgot to. So Kamala Harris had to remind him.
I've got to get a helicopter.
One more. Mr. President, will you travel to Florida, sir?
Can we ask you about Florida, what you've learned? And what
Oh, yes, I apologize. Yes, thank you, my president. I've spoken with, coincidentally, the mayor of Miami-Dade was in my office yesterday. And I talked to her today, not about that, obviously. And so I had a long discussion with her today. I've also spoken with, we've been in contact with the Congresswoman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who has that district.
This does remind me of a moment, the very end of Reagan's tenure. There was a moment where he seemed to forget what he was saying or what he was talking about. And you can see it on video. Nancy kind of subtly turns to him and just says, "We're doing the best we can." And then Reagan, great orator, great performer, he says, "Well, we're doing the best we can." And it was the moment where people started to say, gosh, did he have a senior moment? Now, revisionists have gone back and said, oh yeah, Reagan was just absolutely in the throes of Alzheimer's during his whole presidency. That's preposterous. Ronald Reagan ended the Cold War during his presidency. He was extremely sharp for virtually all of his presidency. He was at that time the oldest guy ever elected president, and maybe he had a senior moment or two. No question. Joe Biden doesn't just have a senior moment or two. It's not just one moment where he kind of goes a little absent-minded. Well, we're doing it's like every time he talks, and it seems to be getting worse. And it's a lot different. Ronald Reagan is giving some impromptu remarks versus Joe Biden at a formal press conference, and the vice president needs to tell him what's going on. He's got a lot of quirks lately. You've seen he's also fallen into another very strange rhetorical trap where he starts to emphasize something by an exaggerated stage whisper. He just did this the other day talking about taxes.
And people say, well, that's a giveaway. Hey guys, I think it's time to give ordinary people a tax break. The wealthy are doing fine. I mean it. I mean it. Why is this not a tax break for working folks when the stuff we give to the super wealthy are called tax breaks?
Oh, okay, so that was weird. It's weird when he does it and he leans in and goes, hey. He's got his weird, creepy Biden eyes popping out of his head. Hey, why don't I? It's called a tax break. So, but he recovered there. It sort of worked well enough. Sometimes it hasn't worked well. Just the other day, he was also speaking to reporters, and he whispered a little too hard, a little too long.
I wrote the bill on the environment. Why would I not be for it?
Hooga booga booga. It's that was not quite as effective as when he was talking about the taxes. Now, I point all this out, the senior moment, the weird whispering stuff, the losing his train of thought, because I'm not just trying to make fun of him. It's perfectly fine to have a laugh at old Joe's expense. But it's because regardless of all that, he's very effective. He is. And we mock him or we dismiss him at our own peril. The guy is very effective. He's survived in politics for 50 years. He has been at the top levels of American politics for half a century. He beat out a lot of other Democrats this go around who were much younger and more impressive than he is. He's very effective, and these senior moments and this apparent incompetence, I think, is in some ways a helpful distraction for the liberal establishment that acts through him, because he just gives them whatever they want. He basically walked into the White House and he said, "Okay, State Department, here's the keys to foreign policy. Okay, liberal establishment, here are the keys to whatever economic policy or trade." And he just, I'm going to be watching Matlock over in the corner. And that's very, very effective. It's why we've now, all the gains we had made in the Middle East, gone. The gains we had made negotiating with China, gone. Joe's a huge fan of China. Joe has famously said repeatedly that it's good for the United States for China to get bigger and stronger and richer. I don't think that's true. I think China's our number one enemy. But the liberal establishment love. That's why they let China into the World Trade Organization. That's why they refuse to blame China for the coronavirus. That's why they've helped China cover up their creation of the coronavirus and their own cover-up of the coronavirus. And American corporations are helping out too. As I said, this is why I don't just say the government. I don't just talk about big government. I talk about the liberal establishment, because that includes the universities, the elected government, the administrative government, big tech, and lower education, and woke corporations. Hold up. Glad you liked that video. Go check out the whole episode. It's right here. It's called Pay No Attention to the Man Behind the Curtain. You can also get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all the places for your audio podcast. And most importantly of all, after you like and subscribe and leave a comment, you can go order my book, Speechless, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds. It's the #1 book in civil rights right now. I am the #1 civil rights leader in the country. Go check it out. I'll see you next time.